a live class with all of you. I believe right now I don't see anybody, but okay. So, we are going to see a few interesting moments from World Championships in the past. I don't think anybody would recognize this position from a World Championship, and there is a reason for that. This is from a World Championship between Kramnik, who is white, and Leko, who is black, and this was in 2004. So this was before the time FIDE and PCA had combined. So this was not a unified world championship, which is why it's not a very famous match. But this position is really an interesting one. If you look at the pieces, white has just taken on a6. Kramnik has just taken on a6. There's a white queen missing here, right? So what is it that white has got in return for the queen? A queen for what exactly? Can you have a look at the pieces and decide what is the material difference in the position? It's a queen versus just one piece, a rook. All the other three, there is black, two bishops and knight, it's same. So it's queen versus rook and three pawns. So Kramnik has done sort of a sacrifice to get this situation. But this pawn is just two steps away from becoming a queen, right? So is it enough compensation for the queen? What do you think? If black has to give up one more piece, like either with knight d7 push, knight b6 promotes, knight takes and rook takes, or with right away bishop takes pawn and rook takes, then it will be a rook and a piece and two pawns for the queen. So that is why Kramnik has gone for this position. But here Peter Leko in this World Championship played in 2004 played a brilliant move, a move that Kramnik hadn't expected. So, those who are in the live chat, you can try to figure out what move will you play for black in this position. So, 1 minute and then we will discuss. So, I was a little late to start the stream, but okay. We are looking at 2004 World Championship between Kramnik, who's white, and Leko, who's black. And Kramnik has just played b takes a6, and here Leko played a brilliant move. So in the chat you can type and send me if you have any ideas for black. What will you play for black? So I don't see any answers yet. It's a tough position, so you can take your time. So those who are watching the video later, you can pause as well. So let's go forward. So the move that Peter Leko played here was queen to d3. A really brave move. I mean, he must have planned this before going for this. Queen d3, ignoring the pawn. And seemingly there is no threat. Like if you're really going for bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes, there'll be a pawn sitting here soon. Let me see what are the comments. Black was winning, but it was a draw. No. It was not. That's not the game you're talking about, I believe. So after queen d3, it's very difficult for this to become a draw. So Kramnik is saying, I'm going to promote my pawn. And Leko is saying, I'm going to checkmate you. But this is a very weird move to attack, right? Because there is no obvious threat in the position. But there is a threat, which let's understand what exactly is Leko's plan. If Kramnik had played pawn a7, which he didn't play, he played a different move, more logical move. I got it says nothing. What did you get? What is the idea? If pawn a7, what will black do? Just send me the move if you have figured it out. What is his idea? There are four pieces in the attack, but two of them are in the territory. But do you really want to play bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes? Okay. Bishop sack. Yeah, you're right. If pawn a7, the bishop will take. Sorry, before bishop takes, there's a more important move to play. Not directly bishop take. First, just bring the queen in. Queen e3. Yeah. King will go to g2. And now bishop takes. Knight takes. The attack is appearing out of nowhere. Now queen e2. If king goes to h1, queen h1 is mate. King goes to h3, queen f1 is mate. So king has to go to g1. h1 will lead to same thing after queen takes knight. King goes to g1 and now knight jumps in, allowing white to promote. But after white promotes, black just calmly moves the king away. And now whatever white does, the threat is queen check, king moves, queen takes, king moves, queen check again, king moves, and queen h2. And if you try to stop it somehow, let's say with king, I mean, there's even another threat. If the king goes to h1, imagine, then there's even queen f1 check, and then knight g1, knight f2 is mate. The other threat is here. For example, if white played something normal, let's say queen takes, if queen takes pawn, then we can't play queen takes, queen f2, king moves, queen f1, knight blocks, knight f2 checkmate. And if you did not play queen takes pawn, what other moves there for white? Let's say he moved the bishop out. Like to avoid the checkmate, let's say bishop takes pawn. Now we just, this was the position, right? So queen was here. So queen f2, force the king to the light square, take, king comes back, queen f2, king moves. Oh, sorry. Just a moment, guys. Please, sorry. And after that, queen takes pawn, checkmate. So there are two threats in the air, starting with queen f2 as well as the threat of queen takes the knight and coming back. So that is why pushing the pawn would not be advisable for Kramnik. So let's see what Kramnik did. He played a move that deals with these kind of threats. Let's see. Pawn was here, king was here, queen was here, there was a pawn here, knight here. The attack came out of nowhere. Bishop here, knight, one second, king was here, bishop was here, there was a knight here. No? One second, let me check the starting position. The black pawn, and this pawn was here. Yeah, this was the position. After queen to d3, okay, let me see if everybody here, all right. Every single games of every player, that is not possible unless you photography memory like Magnus Carlsen. So after queen to d3, if pawn pushes, then it becomes the line that we discussed. Kramnik actually played king f2, stopping all these threats somewhat, because if bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes, this king, right? So he defends everything with king f2. But now Leko plays another brilliant move, a sacrifice. Bishop takes pawn anyway. And after knight takes, knight e4. Now we saw the lines with king g2, queen e2, or if king g1, same thing, queen e2 will, queen takes knight and then there's queen f2 coming. So he played king e1, did Kramnik. Now Leko finds a very simple finish to all this. He didn't have to go for like more brilliancies. Can you find the simple move that will finish the game? Finish the chance for Kramnik. The problem is the pawn. Material right now is queen for a rook and a knight. Black to play. Can you find the last important move of this combination? If you have decided, you can send it in the chat. Okay, one move or in two moves. It could be any number of moves. We just have to make sure we win. Like the aim is to win. It's if the pawn promotes, we lose, right? And if there's no checkmate, we lose. So we have to find the continuation here. Just think of the next move or the next two moves. Knight g5, queen f3. Queen takes knight. The problem with queen takes knight is what exactly is the threat? I'll just push. And then you have one check. I mean, you have one check. I move. There's nothing after that. Is there? Queen e3. Queen e3, bishop will take it. Don't blunder your queen, guys. So the move that Leko played was knight takes. No, queen can't take the pawn. Rook is here. Not queen a6. Knight takes pawn. This doesn't have any beautiful ideas along with it. It just after there's a threat of mate. Queen e2 is mate, and yeah. And if bishop moves, there's queen takes bishop. So there's no way to bring the bishop back. So this is mate, which is why he has to take. And after takes, queen takes. After the king moved, just queen takes rook. The pawn was here. Sorry. What have I done? There was a white pawn here, not the black pawn. So now pawn pushed. Kramnik played for one or two more moves. Pawn pushed, and now this pawn was here. Pawn pushed and black. One second. After pawn to a7, just pawn push was played by Leko, and then after one more move, Kramnik resigned. After the queen took the pawn, Kramnik resigned. So it was all because of that queen d3 move and then two sacrifices on f3 and c3. Completely ignoring this side, but at the end taking care of the pawn. Now in the next position that we're going to, it's from 1984, the famous Kasparov versus Karpov match, the first match that they played. This is from this is from a time when Karpov was already leading 3-0, and with this win that we're going to see, he'll be 4-0. Gary is my favorite, mine as well. It was one of his books that I read first when I started playing. So with this win, he would be 4-0 with Karpov. And then later, Kasparov would come back later in the match to come 5-3. And then the match was like abandoned by FIDE in between. So let me take you to a position. This is from an endgame from 1984 match between Kasparov and Karpov. Just a moment. Okay. So it looked like the game was heading to a draw. Kasparov would have also been thinking after pawn takes pawn, it's Kasparov's move. Karpov's move. Kasparov was also thinking this was going to become a draw. And this is where Karpov showed his ruthlessness. Like, most chess players would automatically play pawn takes pawn. But Karpov played something else that changed the course of the game. Can you find out the move you will play for white? What will you do for white in this position? You can send your answer through live chat. Do we have any answers? I guess not. You need time to think, just like students, yeah? Just like the kids. Kids usually answer very fast actually, but it's good that you're thinking. King F, knight F, knight F, don't run your piece, guys. Bishop will take it. You have to check if it is safe, no? Okay, so before I tell you what move he played, let's also understand why he played that move. Okay, King G2 is the one, I guess. Okay, King G2, but he just took your pawn, yeah? He'll exchange one more and he'll be a pawn up. So if you directly take back, if this happens like in the expectations, if this happens, g4 would be a good try, but it would still be like you'll have to beg for the draw after that. It wouldn't help you much. Pawn takes, let's say black makes a waiting like king e6. The only way to win this is by activating a king, right? You have a knight and it can't attack anything easily. There's no squares to go to. So king g3 would be a normal move, trying to get here. Now let's say black just waits. You get your king to f4. Now the advantage of having a bishop is you can wait like unlimitedly. You can wait forever. And white is not able to play knight f5 or king f5 and there is no entry. There is nowhere for the king to get into the position. That is the reason why it's very difficult to make progress here. So in his calculation, Karpov would have understood this is where pawn takes pawn would lead and then he'll have a problem in that position to convert the advantage. So instead of playing pawn takes pawn, Karpov played the unbelievable knight to g2. Did anyone say it? Oh, nice. Knight g2 was played. So what is the point of that move? Just a second, guys. Okay. So knight to g2. And now Kasparov played pawn takes pawn, king takes back. And we get to the positions that we had when we played pawn takes pawn. But the difference is now king has got this entry point. Yeah, so here black played bishop g6, knight f4, and he got back, Karpov got back the pawn, and king also got in. So now the next move, it took a long time to convert this, but the idea itself is beautiful. After knight to g2, he got back the h pawn with king h4, like after bishop moved. He played king h4, took the pawn, and the king was able to come like this, which was not there before in the other line because there was a pawn on h4, like white pawn. So that was a difference, and that cost the game for Kasparov, and Karpov led by 4-0 in that match, which at that time looked like the match is over. But then Kasparov with this unbelievable comeback won 3 games and made it 5-3 later, but there was no result for that match. Now I'm going to take you to a very thrilling game that happened in the recent past. Like most of you would have also seen that game. I'll show you the position, then you will understand which match and which game I'm talking about. Just a moment. Let's see how fast you can guess the match, the players. This pawn structure itself is like a clue for those who are old enough, like those who were there at 2010 afterwards. Nothing? Nobody? Okay. Oh, well done, Amber. It's from the Carlsen Anand match in 2013 when they first faced each other. So the context of this match was Carlsen was playing his first world championship. He was the number one player for a long time, and he came into the world championship after beating the candidates. And Anand was in his slight, old age, so that sort of thing. But he was still a tiger, still in the top 10 of the world, top 5, I think. And in the match, Carlsen started meekly, but then won 2 games. By this is game 9, I believe. So by game 9, Carlsen was leading by 2 points, and it was almost over for Anand unless he wins this game. Because after this game, there's only 3 more games. It was a 12-game match. So this was a must-win situation for Anand basically, and Anand threw everything at Carlsen. Like he poured his heart out. Like this is the kind of position which you get like of a player who has smelled blood. Like he has gone for the attack. Look at these pawns. And look how calmly Carlsen has played. He has just got queenside space and he has got like insurance over here. If the attack does not work, just like in that position with Kramnik and Leko, if Leko's attack hadn't worked, Kramnik would have promoted. He would have won. Same here, because of the pass pawn, any endgame is winning for Carlsen, for black. If the attack does not work for Anand, this is just game over for Anand. So this needs to work. Will this work? So in this position, the last move played, let me just check. Yeah, the last move played was pawn to b3. This was the move played by Carlsen. And here Anand brought his queen in to bring it for the attack. Before the pawn pushes, either of the pawn pushes, like any of these 3 pawns could push, right? Potentially. Yeah, so f4, f6 is the most logical thing to do. And then queen in and then checkmate on the dark squares, right? So for that the queen comes in. Here Carlsen just calmly plays knight to c7, expecting that the knight will be needed for defense there. So it's important when you're facing an attack, not just to go for counterplay, but you also have to react to like serious threats. So f6, queen h4, queen h6 mate is a serious threat. So knight c7, knight e8 would defend the g7 square. That's why he did that. Now, 1 second. So here, after knight to c7, Anand played f6 as expected. So at this moment, those who are watching like the World Championship match, everyone is thrilled because everyone is rooting for Anand, right? Even those who are not Indians, because he's the underdog here. Even though he's the older, experienced guy, he's the underdog and he's down by 2 points in the match. So everyone is like expecting a win for Anand from this position. So f6, g6, of course, you never take and open up the position for the opponent. So, so g6, queen to h4, there is a threat of checkmate in 2 moves. Queen h6, queen g7 is mate, right? So black has to play either knight e6 or knight e8, but it's better to not block the bishop. So knight to e8. And now queen to h6. Has Anand run out of gas? Where is the attack going to come from? Because if knight comes, Carlsen will just ignore it and push a pawn. Like in this position, Carlsen played b2. Threatening queen a5, queen takes, queen a1, all these things. So Anand has to do something now, but where is the energy going to come from? Where is he going to do a threat from? Right now, this is defended by the knight. Here, you can find a way to make a threat. There is a way to make a threat on h7, but it will take 2 moves. What is the move? Rook to f4. But do we have the balls to play that move? Allowing promotion. Anand did. Anand played rook f4 and Carlsen promoted. I don't have an extra queen, so I'll keep the pawn as the queen. Just bear with me. When I bought this on Amazon, there was no extra queen. So, queens. How do we block the check, guys? I'll keep this queen here, just so you understand. So this is a queen. For those who are just joining the stream, that's a queen. This is also a queen. So rook f4 promotes. Anand needs rook h4 and checkmate. He needs just rook h4 and the next move is mate, unstoppable, right? But right now you need to block the check. If you move the king, queen will get it and it won't be good for us. So what is the move to do? There are 2 options, bishop f1, knight f1. Rook f1 would be stupid, we are not going to do that. We just lifted it up to go there. So which one is the correct decision? Here, Anand played knight to f1, and with that, the bar dropped. Those who are watching the match, their hearts also sank. The bar dropped, and it's winning for black now. Why? What is wrong with knight f1? This is still a threat, right? The problem is, Anand had missed that Carlsen can play queen e1, stopping rook h4. If rook h4, which is what Anand played, queen took the rook, and here Anand resigned. I mean, so basically, Carlsen won a rook because the queen is still here, right? This is the second queen, and that's how he won that match. It was 3-0, and the next game was a draw, and he won. Instead of knight f1, if he had played bishop f1, then the game would have continued. Like now there is no queen e1, which means to stop this, what is the only move for black? It's a question for you guys. There is a threat of rook h4 from Anand, and if Carlsen has to stop it, what is the only way to do it? Let's see how many of you can figure it out. Queen d1. Well done. What is your name, by the way? It's very awkward to say nothing said queen d1. But if you could tell me your name, I can call you by your name. Queen to d1 was played. I mean, what's the possibility? Only possibility. Chaman. Okay. So Chaman is right. Nudan is also right. Queen d1 with the idea of after rook h4, give up the queen. After knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes, bishop comes to f5. This is a long line. The game would have continued because you have moves like g6, the bishop coming back, and you still have pressure. It is queen, queen, rook, rook. It's just one piece extra for Carlsen, and Anand has how many pawns for it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 pawns for the piece. But he has also got pressure here, pressure here. So this would have led to a draw kind of situation, but it was still a game. He wouldn't have lost. He would still have a mathematical chance of, tying the match by winning the next 2 games. But it was not to be. And Anand lost that game, and that was it in 2013. And then Anand had a rematch by winning the candidates next year, but there also Carlsen did well. So that's it from today's class, guys. I'll do such a class again at some point after the World Championship is over or in between, from important moments from this World Championship. I hope you enjoyed the class. Let me end the session here. Bye, guys.